Come in, come in, come in. This is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika. Get on in here, y'all, okay? Get on in here. You are now in the den. And this is my review recap for Queen Sugar, all right? Listen, I am like freaking ecstatic to have this show back. And at the same time, I'm feeling sad because it's going to be the last season, y'all. The last season, all right, is the 7th and final season. And this is the review recap. You know, today's episode was called And When the Great Souls Die. This is season 1 episode. Season 7, I should say, episode 1. And you know, there's so many things that I personally love about Queen Sugar. I mean, all things actually, if I'm being honest, okay? From the storytelling to the Bourdain family, I love following them. I love seeing them, seeing their growth and how they handle all the different situations that's thrown at them. The cinematography, the colors, the outfits. I mean, you name it. I don't know how this show did not get nominated for so many awards throughout the year. And as though I'm sad to see it go, I'm also glad that they are ending it their own way, their own terms, you know what I'm saying, with their own storytelling. And I'm so curious to see, you know, how they're going to finish it off and how they're going to close out everything. Now, I didn't remember everything that happened, okay, in the last season. But some of the things that came to my mind as soon as I started watching was like, oh, that's right, Charlie got a proposal from Davis, which I didn't know how I felt about that. And she also had decided that she was going to run from Congress, right? Then we had Nova meeting this new gentleman, Dominic, and we didn't know really, you know, what Dominic was about, right? We had Prosper with his daughter back in his life and them kind of mending things and figuring things out. And then we had, you know, also this lady Sandy looking like she was kind of into Prosper, right? Miss Ann Nesby. And so then we had, you know, of course, Ralph Angel doing the most stupid shit after he was doing so good and was on a good track. Kind of messed things up a little bit, lost the farm, right? And Nova found these historical artifacts that basically made it where at least the farm could be an historical, you know, landmark. And, you know, they had initially had to sign over the farm when the incident happened with Ralph Angel. So we're picking up with this season, seeing Ralph Angel out here busting his behind, working 2 jobs, okay? And one of the jobs he have is actually for his ex-girlfriend, okay? Out here on this fishing boat, all right? Ralph is getting some work in, right? And, you know, as they finish, you know, getting these fish up out of there and they sitting down to take a break, he's saying to one of his co-workers that he's working with, like, you know, I never thought that I would have had to give up my farm, right? That I would have to leave my farm. And he's basically saying that he still feels he made the right decision when it's all said and done because he couldn't take that deal and he couldn't make the other, you know, farmers suffer for the decisions that, you know what I'm saying, he made. And, you know, the co-workers basically telling him, like, listen, you did the right thing. He was like, trust and believe. He says, you know, he had a situation after Katrina, right? And he thought about just picking up and leaving or whatever because they was just so tired and over with. And he had told his wife that maybe they should move. He said, but when he really thought about it, you know, it's too hard to start over, right? And he says, when you make a promise, you got to keep it. And so, you know, he told Ralph, like, I like you, you know what I mean? You're going to get things done or whatever the case may be, right? You're going to got to get that co-op up and running, you know? And he says, the only thing is you talk a lot, right? And Ralph says, yeah, his father used to tell him that, and he wondered if he could hear him down. And he was like, trust me, just keep him in his, you know, keep him in your heart. You always going to hear him, right? And so it's rough for Ralph Angel, but he is hanging in there, okay? And then we basically see Darla with this beautiful baby girl. Oh my gosh, she is so freaking gorgeous. She is so adorable, okay? Little fat, little chubby little thing, right? And she's in the kitchen with her, you know, preparing things. And then we see Hollywood and Vi come in, and of course they all gushing over her. And Hollywood is asking her, like, another rough night, huh? You didn't get no sleep, you know? She says that she maybe got 4 hours in the last 6 months, but she's not worried about herself, right? She's worried about Ralph Angel, okay? He's working these 2 jobs and he's tired as hell. And Hollywood says, yeah, well, he don't have the land to walk, right? Usually when they would get stressed out, they would walk the land. So, of course, this is his way of keeping himself busy, right? And so then Ralph Angel comes home because he had actually, you know, saw the ex-girlfriend when he was on his way leaving, and she had a gift from her mom, right, that she sent for the baby. And they spoke for a minute, and then her new little boyfriend that she got came over, and he's like, "Hey, Ralph," and she was like, "It's Ralph Angel. All right, get it right if you're gonna be saying his name." But nonetheless, they was having small talk, asking her how her family was doing, and she was saying how they had the business for over 30 years, and now that her mom is retired, it's not like she really retired, because she's still calling her and checking up on her every day ago a minute, right? But her mom had initially came there when she was 10 years old, right? So it's like the mom took it over from her parents, and then she's taking it over from her. And Ralph Angel just basically says he wish he could have did the same thing pertaining to the farm. And she says, "I know how much it meant to you, and if there's anything I could do, let me know." And then he was telling her boyfriend, like, "You're a lucky man," and she basically says, "No, she's the lucky one." So now when he gets home, he's coming in with 2 gifts. All right, he said he never seen a baby that got so much gifts, because he got the one from Miss Fawn that he's bringing in, and then he got another big box. Apparently Charlie been sending everybody big boxes, okay? And he's over here teaching the baby some sign language, because he says he read in this book that babies, learn to speak sign before talking. And he's asking her, like, what she want. And she was like, "Child, y'all in this new parenting, okay?" She says, "I know all about, what she wants." She's teething. So she was going to give her, like, a bone that more than likely probably have been in the freezer to keep it cold to put on her teeth. But Dara I should say, is over here. Darla, I don't know why I'm calling her every daggone thing else, is over here talking about Aunt Ron. Now, what did we discuss? Okay, we are keeping her, on a certain diet. You cannot be giving her that. And she like, "Girl, I ain't never heard of no damn vegan baby." I haven't either, okay? That's a bit much now. I wasn't up on that one. And so she was like, "But all right, I'm going to respect, what I'm saying, your wishes. I'm not going to give it to her. That's fine." And so we then see Micah, and we see that Charlie been sending him these boxes too. Okay, he done called her up to tell her stop sending these gifts, because he like, my apartment ain't but a daggone minute, all right? It's not that big and not that much stuff is going to be fitting in it. So, slow down with the daggone gifts, Maz. But she just tells him that she's about to go into this meeting, and she will talk to him later. And so a little after that, we see this girl coming and giving him a daggone kiss, and he like, "Oh, you out of here now?" And she was like, "Yeah." He like, "You always look like that when you wake up?" She was like, "Every day." Okay. We also see that him and Isaiah have been keeping in touch. Okay, Isaiah's out in Mexico having a funky good time. He done sent him a picture and said, "Meet Bryce." And when Micah asked him, "Mexico is good," he's just like, "Sure is," right? And so we also see, Prosper's over here putting on some cologne. I said, "Where you going, Prosper? Okay, what are you trying to get into, Mr. Prosper?" So he over here tapping up, his face and looking at himself in the mirror, trying to make sure he's looking right. And you could hear that, Billy is getting some kind of calls or messages or something, and she's just basically clicking it off. So Prosper walks over to her and is like, "Listen, I don't want to get in your business or nothing, all right? I want to try to stay in my own lane, but, you need to stop ignoring Vince's calls, right? Sooner or later, you're going to have to go ahead and face them." And she's looking at him like, "You look nice." Of course, she just want to change the subject. She's like, "I had date." So he like, "No, I'm just heading over to Sandy. She needs some help fixing things." She said, "Well, you be done fix the whole damn house, Daddy." So he laughing or whatever. But he says they're friends and he do enjoy her company. And so she's like, and he was like, "And why don't you go ahead and check on that debt relief? Okay, how is that coming?" And she said, she's still on hold or whatever, right? They're trying to reverse this discrimination thing. So that's what's holding it up. And he was like, "Can you believe that?" So when she goes to give him a kiss, she was like, "Yeah, and you smell real nice, Daddy. Okay, you trying to smell good to go over there and fix things." So nonetheless, we have Dominique and Miss Nova. They still seem to be trying to hang in there, right? And he's going on this walk for her, and she's saying that she always do these walks when she gets nervous right before a big article is coming out, and she's obviously checking the phone to see if the article came out yet. And he's like, "Hey, we said no phones, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, you right." And they just trying to like enjoy the scenery and take everything in. And she's basically like, "This is nice," and they having a little kissing moment or whatever, right? So I'm assuming, things are all right between Nova and Dominique. And so she's basically saying, like, what else can we do with this day, right? She was saying it's funny because you grow up someplace and you imagine, all the spots or whatever the case may be that, you and just to know that you're still finding spots that you've never been. And so he was like, okay, well, I got some more spots for you. All right, let's be tourists. He was like, we can go to Beignets, we could go to the cafe, we could go to Oysters at Felix. We could finish the day drinking hurricanes on the airboat. And she was like, nah, I'm not trying to have no hurricanes, all right? I'm never doing that again. I haven't done that since high school. But he was like, it would be, awesome for us to do this. And she was basically like, thanks, that sounds great, but not today, right? So she says she just really want to be lazy today. So he's like, okay. So now, we have, Darla and Ralph Angel hanging, heading out or whatever, right? They talking about the baby and how big she is. And you could just see that Ralph Angel is starting to have, like, how do you say, that separation anxiety, right? He did miss a lot of things with Ralph Angel. He did miss a lot of things with Blue, right? His father was with Blue when he first was born in those first years. So he feels kind of guilty when it comes to True and leaving her. And she's like, listen, you don't got to feel guilty. You out here working hard. She was like, you'll be there to see other things, right? And I'll also take pictures and send it to you, right? It's not the same situation that it was when it came to you and Blue. Then they also start to talk about this co-op, and she's just trying to encourage him and let him know, listen, this is going to work, okay? Because he got this lady Mo that's coming out, and she's basically like, you put so much into this, and if it was a no, then she would have just said no in the email. The fact that she's coming out is a good sign, right? And then when they're about to, she says, you've been so stressed or whatever. Why don't you and Hollywood go fishing? And he's like, oh, hell no. Okay, I'm working around fish all the time. The last thing I want to do is go fishing. So she starts laughing, but she was like, oh, well, you didn't have a problem, taking a job with your ex-girlfriend. And he basically was like, I know ain't nobody jealous, okay? He says, let it be known that nobody, okay, could take your spot and nobody is better than you, all right? So then she just basically starts asking him if he's going to take the long way around, okay? Ralph Angel has definitely been, avoiding going past the farm anytime soon, as much as he can. And so she's like, are you ever going to go by there again? And he's like, not right now, okay? So Nova's mass story comes out, right? This is the article that she was waiting on, and we're seeing that Vi is basically, talking as one of, a part of one of the interviewers that they interviewed, and she's saying how nobody knew about this, even when her grandmother came there and was staying with her, right before she passed. This was nothing that she would bring up, that they used to be ashamed about it. And she said finally they don't have to be ashamed anymore, and now the truth is revealed. And so Nova's just super excited and jumping up and down and hugging Dominic or whatever, right, that the story has finally been released. And then we see Vi and Hollywood at the restaurant, and we have Jaqueen come over, and he done talked about some damn, I did a little something, I added a little, kick to your blackberry pie. So she was like, what I told you about messing with my recipes, boy, okay? I just got you back up in here. I did not hire you for you to be, messing with my damn food. You not no cook. But then she go ahead and take a bite of the pie, and she was like, now, wait a minute here. Okay. I see what you working with. She liking it, Hollywood liking it. They both saying it tastes good. He did a great job. And he's like, wow, really? She's like, yeah, tell your mother. Then she say to Hollywood, see, maybe now you happy that I was hired him back. And he's like, well, I still got my eye on that boy, okay? But this pie is great. Ain't no denying that. So now Micah, he done went to this photography class, right? A guy that he heard about that's supposed to be the next Gordon Parks. And who should he bump into but Miss Kiki, baby, all right? And I always liked Kiki. I was mad when they broke up, right? So he sees her, he's not expecting to be bumping into her. He's telling her how he's there for this class, and she's saying how she works with the guy, how she's his AP, and much more. And he was like, oh, much more, excuse me. She's like, no, I don't mean it in that way, all right? I'll just take care of some of his other, stuff that he got going on because he be so busy and he can't, do everything. So she's like, well, you better go ahead and hurry up in there and get in the class because, he don't take kindly to people coming in late to class. And Micah's just still kind of stuck and staring at her and looking and smiling and gushing, and saying how it is very nice to see her. And she's like, it's nice to see you too, okay? So I was like, So now we also seen that Darla was like trying to work on, you know, these finances, all right? Darla's trying to help these farmers and look over their paperwork and make sure that everything is straight. And, you know, Prosper and all of them was talking and kind of making fun of Ralph Angel at the same time, right? They're very appreciative of him and all the hard work that he's been putting in. But it's like, you know, he's going so hard. He's so wrapped up into this whole farmers thing, right? And apparently he's been going really hard and trying to teach them a whole lot about this Mo person, right, that's going to be coming in. And so they're like, yeah, we got your 1,000 emails that you done sent about the daggone lady, right? We got the first ones you sent, and now you sent more. And they talking about how, you know, she's going to be there any minute. And they basically was like, you know, just saying, Mo Evans, you mean the link with the TED Talk that you sent us 100 times? Yeah, we're very familiar and we'll know when she gets here. And then Ralph Angel's just like, all right now. So we have this lady that's saying to Prosper, like, what are your intentions with my friend Sandy? You know, it's been 6 months, okay? If you ain't gonna do nothing, none of us is getting any younger, you know, let her know so she could find someone else that will. I said, well, damn, we be doing this with the old folks too. You know, Prosper was just like, let me go get my coffee and walked away. So, you know, this was the person that Darla ends up calling over and says, look, I looked over your books like you asked, and your third account is overdrawn, okay? It's not doing good at all. She was like, you know, I'm really worried about you falling behind with your mortgage. And the lady is telling her, like, well, I'm, you know, still waiting for that money we supposed to get. She was like, your bills is past due 90 days. She said, well, if the money is not there, what the heck am I supposed to do? So Darla's asking her, did she ask for an extension? She said, yeah, 3 months ago, and she's still waiting on approval. She said, well, why don't I drive you over, okay, so we could go ahead and check and see what the heck is going on with that. And she's basically like, yeah. So I love seeing the growth in Darla and her just, you know, taking over things and having her little expertise and things that she's good at now that she's trying to contribute. And at the same time, she comes over to Ralph Angel and he's looking at the map and he sees where the borderline farm is crossed out on it. And she's just telling him, this is not going to be the end. You are going to begin again, okay? Like you did before, you know? And she's like, and like they did before us. Like, don't even worry about it, right? And then the car is pulling up, so he's like, Mo, he's here. That's it. She's here, y'all, you know, and he's super excited about that. So they go ahead and bring her in, and they're just showing her everything that they've done so far. And Nova Darla was asking her how she got her name, and she was like, basically her brothers, you know, always was calling her that, and it stuck. And she said, you know, they said she always used to say, who doesn't want Mo, right? And then that became something that she actually started using with the ladies, and they laugh about that. And so he's telling her, like, you know, all the work that you did, I've been reading your books, I've been looking at your videos, you know, everything that you wrote up, I've been, you know, going by your seminar about the land trust and the farmers and your TED Talk. And, you know, of course they throw in there, like, yeah, several times, okay. And she says that, you know, he said he first heard about her from the Freedom Georgia Initiative. And she was like, yeah, that's really important. It's about reclaiming the land, you know, getting back things that they took for us, fighting for us, you know, Black Wall Street and all of that different kind of stuff. So she said it's really incredible. And he said, well, we basically modeled our co-op after you. And the next thing you know, Nova come walking up, honey. And she's like, already knowing about Nova. He's like, oh, this is my big sister Nova. She like, oh, Nova Borderline. Okay, I heard about you. Okay, your name precedes you. You got quite a reputation. And Nova was like, all good, I hope. And she talking about, well, I don't shy away from the bad either. And you could just see them giving googly eyes. And, you know, Ralph is looking back and forth like, listen, we ain't got time for this, okay? I came here asking this lady for damn help for my damn co-op, okay? Not for you to start messing around. So, of course, as soon as they go walking away, because they was going to show her, you know, the youth program that Mr. Prosper been working on, he tells Nova, like, listen, Nova, I see you, okay? What are you doing? And she was like, what? What is the problem? You know, he like, excuse me. And she was like, I'm not doing anything. What are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, I see all that gazing and stuff you doing all up in here. He said, don't be pulling a Nova, okay? That part made me laugh so hard. He was like, I'm serious. And she just looking like she appalled, okay, by him even saying that. And so then we have the meeting going. Ralph is trying to tell them what it's all about, what he trying to do, how they got this started, what to expect. He's trying to let them know the layout and, what I'm saying, what they got to sacrifice and all that different kind of stuff. And, basically why he have the Lady Mo here. And for the most part, most people are listening, but you still got that same old man. I forget his daggone name, but he always the one that's the negative Nancy. He was the one that had funny stuff to say to Dan Micah the last season, where it's like, yeah, wow, it's still costing us this, and we still not getting this and this and that, at this time. And I get it, when you old and you settled in your ways and you're scared of losing stuff and you don't have that much to begin with, to lose a change and things like that could be scary. But it's like, listen to them first and hear what the hell they gotta say. They want to be arguing and cutting him off and everything, and it was just really, the meeting was getting off to a really rough start, right? And Mo had to basically stand up and she had to start talking, and she said, listen, I'm Mo Evans. Y'all haven't met me yet. I'm coming here representing from South Louisiana. And she was like, Ralph Angel and you guys have accomplished extraordinary things in these last 6 months. She was like, 80% of us doing these, farming, but only 3%. And so, here he come. It don't feel like it. She said, yeah, it doesn't feel like it because you're building a foundation now. That's the hardest part. But she was like, trust me, later on, there's going to be real value here, okay? It takes time and it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. It's not overnight. She was like, and they'll try to force everything and tear you apart, but you cannot let them win. So she lets them know, please don't let them. And she basically lets them know, when it's all said and done, the application has been approved for them to join them. So this is good news. This is what Ralph Angel wanted. Darla was right. She says, welcome to the 3%. And he was just like, thank you. You could see a big relief came off of him. And then, Ralph Angel says, our revolution was land. And he says, who said that? And they was like, no. And he says, Malcolm. And he says, they fought for this, right? He says, not only did they fight for this and demand respect, but they also demanded respect and they disrupted the system. He said they didn't give up and we can't give up either. We got to keep going. He was like, this co-op is basically, for them, it's for us, it's for the future, for our kids and grandkids and all that stuff. And we have to disrupt the system, right? We have to reclaim what we lost. And he said, that's the only thing that we could do, or whatever the case may be, right? But we have to do it all together as a unit, right? And so they basically all start, well, they don't all start clapping. A couple of them started clapping. Of course, Darla was one of the first ones, and then other people joined in, but old Grumpy still kind of had, a screwed up face. So we see Kiki and Micah basically walking and talking, kind of hanging out, and she pulling out some damn, smoke or whatever, because she was asking him, like, how your mama doing, how the family doing. He was like, everybody doing good, dad is doing his thing, my mom is over here, if she wins, that's gonna be big. So she was like, well, are you planning on going back out to California? He like, nah, I'm good here. She's like, oh, so Micah settled, huh? So she asking him if he want to go ahead and take this walk with her, and she's pulling out a little joint. And he like, nah, I can't really do that. I'm supposed to be at the Christian in a little bit, and I don't want to show up there high. So she's like, okay, no problem. And she go walking off, but then he has a change of heart, of course, and goes chasing after her, right? And so then, we seeing that Mr. Prosper did go over to Miss Sandy's house to fix something, right? And as he's leaving out, he's stumbling like, I like to go out sometimes, and I wouldn't mind if you went out. I don't know if you go out. And she's like, are you asking me out on a daggone date? And then he was like, yeah. She was like, oh, good, because I was tired of asking you for things to fix. They are too cute, okay? So we have Nova get this call, right? And she basically finds out they want to turn her book into a movie. She was like, they talking about some really big, substantial offer here, okay? A high 6 figures. So she was like, the other 2 will be movies, and, your book is going on the Oprah Book Club. So she was like, I cannot believe this. She said, well, I can't answer you, right this minute. Can I sit with this for a minute? And so, of course, our publisher's like, I know you ain't trying to say no, Nova. She was like, well, go ahead, take some time, think about it, right? But get back to me as soon as you can, right? The faster, the better. So when they hang up, she's telling Dominic, because at first she's dancing like, yes, yes. And he like, what's going on? She like, I got offered a you know, a 6-figure deal for my book. I don't even know what that means. Do it mean $500,000? Does it mean higher? She was like, so he was like, yo, we got to celebrate this. But she thought about it after, wait a minute, She was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. He's like, what? She was like, my family, this basically tore us apart with this book. So if they make it into a movie, that would be like it's reopening wounds all over again. And she was like, oh man, I need to think or whatever, right? And she was like, can I even do something like this, because that just almost broke my family or whatever, right? And she was basically saying they're so vulnerable right now. And I'm like, Nova, sit them down and talk to them. Tell them what's going on, girl, okay? That's first and foremost. Don't make any decisions without talking to them, because, child, it took me a long time. I was still mad at Nova when they forgave her, okay? So I'm like, please do not move forward without, you know, checking with the family first. Please, whatever you do. So then we see True getting baptized. It's so sweet, you know. She over here with her little baby hat on that apparently has came from her great-great-grandmother, you know. And she's also named from her grandmother, and I just love it. And they doing the christening, and everybody's there. You know, Michael got Charlie on video, and he got Blue on the video, and they watching from there. And they tell the story of, you know, where this outfit and this hat came from, and you know how she got her name and all of that. And then you know, I just was like, that is just so freaking beautiful, right? And so she had actually came, I'm sorry, afterwards, right? Michael is chilling in the living room. So Nova comes in there, and he's like, today was a weird day. She's like, you know, I was looking for you. What's going on, millennial? You always on that damn phone. And he was like, I think I'm Gen Z, okay? So she was like, why are you hiding over here? He was like, I don't know. It just was a weird day. He was like, you remember, you know, Kiki, right? She like, yeah. He was like, I bumped into her at the center. You know, then I went into class, and, you know, the teacher was showing these weird little things. So Nova like, Michael, are you high? He was like, yeah, I am, just a little bit. So she basically starts laughing, and she was like, okay, well, you need to hang out in here, okay, till you calm yourself down and get yourself back sensible, and then join us. And he was like, yeah, I'm just going to chill here for a minute. So when she goes in the kitchen, she's laughing, and Billy's like, what's going on? What you laughing about? And she was like, girl, Nova in there, Micah's in there high as the sky, okay? Ha, 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 ha. And they laugh, and she was like, girl, could you imagine what it would be to be 21 again? And she's like, nah, actually, I couldn't. So basically, she ends up, you know, Billy ends up like blurting out, girl, oh my God, I can't believe about the movie. Now, mind you, I'm thinking when she walked in the kitchen with Billy, that Billy was going to tell her about how Kenny had pushed up on her, because at one point when Billy was still there at the co-op, Kenny came and was saying thank you to her, and that she's such a big help to him, and you know, there's certain things that he don't be knowing and he can't understand. And she was like, oh, that's okay, you learn it pretty easy, it's like a second language. But then he tries to shoot his shot with Billy, okay? First he offers, you know, invites her to come to this bonfire, and she like, nah, I'm not really a bonfire kind of girl anymore, right? And then he basically was like, well, how about, and she said, let me stop you right there. And then he says to her, no, wait. He was like, I'm a patient man, okay? So don't just say no just like that. He was like, I know sometimes things is timing, and maybe this is just not the right time. So in other words, you know, he would go ahead and wait for her. So I'm thinking she gonna tell Nova about that. No, she starts squealing about the damn movie, and Nova's like, girl, shut up, okay? She mad loud. She like, somebody gonna hear you, you know? You don't make me regret confiding in you and telling you about this, okay? Because she, of course, haven't spoke to any of them about it yet. So she is like, I'm so sorry. She was like, no, I could keep a secret. I'm grown now, all right? I'm going to calm down or whatever, right? She was like, it's too soon. I'm sorry. So she was like, your secret is safe with me. In the process of this, they giggling. So when Aunt Vi come in, she like, what's going on? Because Billy over here talking about can I be in the movie? I said, girl, what? She was like, yeah, I know I'm not in the book or whatever, but we could talk about the time when we was in your daddy truck, and you could put that in the movie. So they hurried up and was quiet. when Aunt Vi walked in and she's like, what y'all up here gossiping about? What's going on? Like, I want to laugh too. What is happening, okay? She says, is this about Dominic? I want to hear because, you know, for Miss Nova, 6 months is a lifetime. So Nova like, well, I'm not that bad. She was like, shit, I was with Calvin for 5 years, and Aunt Vi looking at her like this, and I'm looking at her like this too, because are we really counting Calvin? She's talking about, well, I know 4 of those years he was married, but she says Dominic is great. And so Aunt Vi was like, well, I'm glad because we like him, all right? Don't lose him because you be liking to go through men like water. I said, well, damn, Aunt Vi. You know Aunt Vi gonna spill the tea, okay? And then when Aunt Vi, you know, go walking out, you hear Billy still asking about being in the damn movie. I said, girl, if you don't sit your behind down somewhere. So we see now that they are actually doing this thing where they're in the back and they have this big book that apparently is a book that is, you know, from their family, right? Everybody that gets named gets put in the book. And again, you know, Ralph got to get sentimental and say how he wasn't the one to put Blue's name in the book. It was his father. So he's saying, you know, he's going to get to write True name in it. And again, this is True with no E, baby, okay? And he's adding her in. So that was such a beautiful moment. I love to see it, right? And of course, things cannot just go good, right? Without no interruptions and without the devil coming in the damn mix, honey, okay? Literally. As they're finishing up, we hear this car come up. And we seeing this boot coming out the car. And so Vi saying, Sam, don't come with no mess. Turn around, get right back in that car. Don't you dare. And he talking about, oh, come on now. We family. They like, we ain't no damn family, okay? So he's like, listen, you know, I didn't want to interrupt nothing important. She's like, spit it out, Sam, okay? So he gonna talk about some. I just wanted to congratulate Nova on her excellent article, all right? He was like, I really loved it. It was so important how she traced all the victims and all the hard work that she put in. And he was like, that's a hell of a lot of work, and your call to action, you know, for the living descendants, for the remains to be untouched was just genius. Perfect. Magnifique, right? And he's basically saying because of that hard work, we found out that our family is intertwined with yours once again. So Vi like, what the hell you talking about? And he gives her this paper. So she go ahead and she looking at the paper, and Nova's like, what are you talking about? There's no Landry's, there's no borderline. So what's happening? Vi said, are you serious, Sam? You know she wouldn't want this. And Nova said, Vi, what's going on? She said, he talking about Betty's people, her maiden name or whatever the case may be, right? And she says, that's Parker's mother. So here he go. Parker's mother's a living, you know, member of the massacre, a descendant of the massacre. So he says we could overturn that historical thing you put on the land, and then we could go ahead and remove the people, and we can expand the outlet in the mall as, you know, we were supposed to. Of course, we would move the bones first. And so then the concrete trucks is coming through and paved the way. So Nova said, She said, before you touch any of that, I don't give a damn about your daughter and who she got there, because there's other descendants here as well. So it wouldn't just go by her like that. So she said, you still not going to be able to do nothing. So, you know, Sam was like, we will see, okay? And so Vi, of course, is pissed off at this point, and she goes walking up to him as he was walking away, and he was saying, let you get back to that baby. And she walks up to him, and she's like, Sam, she like, you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this, honey? You sure you want to go down this path? She says, let me tell you, because you know if you do, you know where it leads, right? And he gonna talk about some, well, Vi, you didn't leave us any choice. And she was like, fine. And I said, well, what you know, Aunt Vi? Because you know Aunt Vi knows some more stuff, right? We all can agree on that, right? So, again, it's going to be on, okay, between the Borderlones and the Landrys. It's going to be on and popping, right? And I'm just like, somebody kill Sam. Like, somebody kill him, because I'm tired of him and his damn foolishness, y'all. But that was Queen Sugar. That is season 1, episode 7. Tell me what y'all thought about this episode, and tell me what y'all think we gonna be dealing with this episode. What do y'all think they gonna feel about this book deal? I think it's gonna be split. Some people gonna say yeah, and some people gonna say no. You know how it go, y'all. But put it in the comments. Let's discuss. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you are so inclined, okay, give me a wave. Let me know you came by. Put some flames up in the sky. All right, y'all. Till next time. Toodaloo.